Welcome to another edition of In the Toy Box. I'm Matt.
And I'm Kevin.
And today's episode is about Marvel toys versus DC toys.
Nice. So what do we have? What do we have in front of us?
In front of us we have, representing the Marvel Universe, we have Mego's Captain America and Spider-Man.
Okay.
We have Iron Man and Thor from the Captain Action series.
Right.
And then we have Batman and Superman from Figures Toy Company.
Yep.
And then Aquaman and Flash from Hasbro.
Hasbro.
Right.
Got you. They're all 12 inches.
All 12 inches toys, yep.
So closest to you, those guys are the oldest?
Yes. I believe it's 1970s, Hasbro,
That was
1990s.
Those are 90s.
Probably
yep.
mid-90s. Figures Toy Company, I believe around 2010, and probably the same with these,
Got you.
around the same era, 2010.
So we got the Justice League, and then we got the Avengers on your side, huh?
Exactly.
Wowzer.
Exactly. So these toys, like, if we were to compare, first of all, the Mego, Captain America, and Spider-Man with Figures Toy Company, Superman, and Batman, because those are the similar. They're all
They're very similar.
pretty much Mego style.
Right. The bodies are like almost identical, correct?
Right. What would you think would be better? Like, what's the better one here?
Out of the two, so the couple differences I noticed, the original Mego style, they have a bigger head sculpt, and I kind of feel like they have a little more detail. The Figures Toy Company version, I think you were telling me earlier, they kind of modeled them off the 8-inch figure line,
Yes.
so their head sculpts aren't as detailed.
Okay.
And for some reason, I really like the originals. So if I had to choose one or the other, I think the Marvel universe would win this round for me.
Yes. I actually agree.
Yeah.
I think Marvel's the Mego toys are actually better than the DC Figures Toy Company.
Figures Toy Company.
And what
ones.
about the Captain Action versus Hasbro on the?
Yeah, so I grew up with these Hasbro ones. I had a few of them, and I played with them quite a bit. And for some reason, I didn't have the Aquaman one that's in front of me. And I noticed he has a little more bend in his legs, whereas the Flash,
Yes.
he has like almost like that pop bend like leg. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Captain Action figures, if people at home aren't familiar with them, there's an action figure. Basically, they're wearing masks.
Right.
So he has like a head sculpt underneath that, and that to me was super fun. You know, so I love that. And these bodies are like incredible to pose. You know.
Yep.
And they usually come with a bunch of accessories, whereas the DC line from, who was that again?
Hasbro.
There wasn't much to them.
Yeah.
So-
I think they look great,
Yes.
but there's not much posability
Right.
on most of the figures. The only one that's different is, like you said, is Aquaman, and even he is not as posable as the Captain Action.
Yeah. However, I do love, for some reason, the Flash, the one that we have here.
Yeah.
I love the costume. I like his pose and everything.
Yeah.
But however, if I had to pick one or the other, again, I'm going to go with Marvel. You know, I just think that they're just really awesome to look at. Excellent accessories, and then you have the cloth costume with an extra belt that goes around
Right.
and all that stuff. So it's
Right.
it's really neat.
I agree with you 100%. I think Marvel versus DC. I think Marvel wins on both cases here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's Superman. one of the greatest heroes in the history of the DC Universe. As an infant, Kal-El was placed in a small spaceship by his parents, Jor-El and Lara. He was sent on his way to Earth before his planet of Krypton and all its remaining inhabitants were destroyed.
Jonathan and Martha Kent happen upon the crashed shuttle and happily adopt the alien infant. While growing up, the newly named Clark Kent discovers that the Earth's sun provides him with multiple different powers, like super strength and speed, X-ray and heat ray vision, and even flying. These newfound powers transform him into Superman, the Earth's protector.
In 1938, Superman appeared in Action Comics #1, later known as Detective Comics. This appearance led to Superman dominating the comic book world. In the 70s, Mego produced a 12-inch version of Superman, and in 2018 they released a new 14-inch version, this time including Lex Luthor as well as General Zod. In 2021, Mego released a deluxe box version of their 14-inch Superman.
Figures Toy Company produced a 12-inch and 8-inch Superman, along with other faces like Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, and more. Mattel released 12-inch versions of the Superman and General Zod, based on the movie Superman 2, starring Christopher Reeve. The figures bear an uncanny resemblance to the actors. Crazy Toys and Sideshow Toys both produced 12-inch Superman figures as well.
DC Direct made two prominent versions of Superman, both 13 inches tall. One is a classic edition, and the other is a deluxe version which includes Clark Kent alter ego clothing. Jakks Pacific produced this 18-inch Superman with a detailed head sculpt and a cloth costume. He towers above the rest. Batman's first appearance was in Detective Comics #27, released in 1939. His intense, brooding appearance was meant to strike fear in the heart of all criminals.
As a young boy, Bruce Wayne witnessed the death of his wealthy parents at the hands of a common thug. He was handed down a sizable fortune, including the family mansion. With these resources, he trained himself in a plethora of combat skills. He vowed to protect the citizens of Gotham City while cleaning up the crime-ridden streets. A secret cavern underneath his estate would be transformed into the famous Batcave, a highly guarded hideout equipped with advanced technology, including computers, body armor, and bat vehicles.
He was a superhero with no superpowers, relying solely on his skill set, intelligence, and armor for protection. His appearance changed over time.
His Batmobile reflected that of his costume. Sometimes black and gray, sometimes blue and gray. In the past, Mego Toys has produced an 8-inch Batman figure and also two 12-inch Batman figures, a regular version and a version with magnetic hands and feet. In 2021, Mego is back on the scene and produced a new 8-inch Batman and a larger 14-inch version of the Batman. These plush versions offer a cuddly rendition of the Caped Crusader.
Sideshow Toys has produced a variety of Batman figures. This particular Batman is wearing a blue variation of his costume and comes complete with accessories. Another Sideshow Batman showcases a unique feature with interchangeable heads. turning Batman into Bruce Wayne. With a legacy spanning over 80 years, Batman is one of the most famous DC heroes. So look to the sky, and when you see the bat signal, know that Batman is out there protecting his beloved Gotham City.
Through movies, shows, or comics, most of us were introduced to DC evildoers like the Joker, the Penguin, and the Riddler, who would oftentimes team up to take down the dynamic duo. Ra's al Ghul, who respects but despises Batman, believes in order to bring balance to the world, most of humanity must perish. The Scarecrow is a deranged ex-scientist who unleashes toxins on his foes to make them go mad. Two-Face is a revenge-driven ex-politician whose disfigurement led to disgruntlement. Harley Quinn's knowledge of acrobatics and hand-to-hand combat make her doubly dangerous. Catwoman, a somewhat love interest of Batman, uses her nails and bullwhip to take out her adversaries. Shazam has Dr. Sivana, who knows of Shazam's secret identity and uses any and all manners to try to get rid of him. Aquaman faces off against Black Manta, his underwater archenemy who dons some serious armor and heavy-duty head helmet. Wonder Woman takes on Cheetah. This costume-clad criminal specializes in robbery and kidnapping. Superman introduces us to desperate delinquents like General Zod, who hails from Krypton and shares similar powers as Superman. His actions had him banished to the Phantom Zone. Lex Luthor sees Superman as a threat to the human race and seeks to rid the world of him. Bizarro, created from Luthor's replicating ray gun, cannot discern between good and evil and wreaks havoc on Earth. Darkseid is a powerful being who is seeking to enslave the entire universe. Mr. Mxyzptlk is more of a prankster than villain, and often disappears if you get him to say his name backwards. Keltip-Zixum, and poof, he's gone. The DC Universe is full of extraordinary evildoers who put our heroes to task with their constant criminality. All right, so now we've lowered the scale from a 12-inch figure to about an 8-inch line, right?
That's correct.
So what do you have in front of you over there?
Over here we have Marvel versus DC along the 8-inch line. Marvel represented by Diamond Select Toys.
Okay.
DC represented by Figures Toy Company.
Okay.
And, you know, after like viewing these, handling them, and my perspective on that is that I think the Marvel heroes on these toys are actually far superior than the DC.
Okay.
They all resemble the vintage Migos. That's what they were going for.
Right.
But the Marvel ones are a little more sturdy than the Batman and the Superman from Figures Toy Company.
Right. I think that the way like the face sculpts are, the Figures Toy Company ones may look almost a little newer. They all have that vintage look, but for some reason I think because of the Spider-Man, he looks a little like just super plasticky. But as you said, when you hold him,
Yeah.
You're like, wow, this is like a solid figure.
Yeah.
You can pose them good.
It is.
Yeah, so those are definitely better when it comes
Yeah.
to the difference. So the Marvel definitely better in that realm.
Yeah. I think Marvel's really doing. Some
They're
damage
they're
to
one
DC.
they're one up in DC. Yeah, yeah. And in front of us here we have. They say they're 8-inch, but they're closer to like a 9-inch. They're definitely bigger. You can kind of see it right there. You know.
Yes.
So you have Hasbro. They came out with some DC stuff, the Superman and the Batman, and then Toy Biz had their line, and they're all cloth figures. They're all really nice, super posable. I think some main differences that I noticed was that the body style of the Toy Biz figures were like a little too dramatized. So if you take a look at the Captain America in front of us, his chest is so large
Yeah.
compared to his head. It just is so off-putting.
Yeah.
And it's still a beautiful figure, but even so, like the gloves that they put over him, they tried to be like, oh, we're gonna give him some gloves. They're just rubber over the hands, so it makes him look like he has gigantic hands in comparison as well.
Yeah. His arms definitely look too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the heads could be a little bit larger. They're still a great figure.
Oh, they're awesome.
I think they're far advanced than the Mego. I think they're more muscular. The costumes are pretty cool.
Yep.
Even the packaging on the boxes I like, with the display of like comic book covers and stuff, which is why they call famous covers.
Yes.
With the Hasbro, and this is only two of them that we have here, Batman and Superman. The packaging, I like the packaging on the Superman. I like the way they did it, where he's in the Clark Kent
Right.
suit. There's also a phone booth there
Right.
where he's going to change into Superman. So I like that too. It's a tough decision to kind of figure out which one's better, the overall figure and as well as the packaging.
Well, I'll tell you, my vote was for DC in this
Okay.
section. I like how they styled the bodies. They have an extra thing they added to the hands that like allows you to close the hands,
Right.
which I really like for a small figure. It just really like you're like, wow, these are super posable. And like you said, to have the option to be Superman or Clark Kent, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you on that one. I think DC on the Hasbro beats wins famous covers on the Marvel.
absolutely. Appearing in the first Captain America comic, released in 1941, Steve Rogers enlisted in the U.S. military during World War II. He was subject to an experimental serum which turned him into a super soldier with enhanced strength. Wearing the colors of the American flag, he became known as Captain America. Equipped with a nearly indestructible shield, Captain America throws it like a boomerang against his enemies. He succeeds in aiding the U.S. military in World War II. However, at the end of the war, he becomes trapped under ice and is suspended in animation. Years later, he is thawed out and becomes the leader of the superhero team, the Avengers.
With incredible likeness to Chris Evans, Hot Toys released a 1/6 figure 2-pack of Captain America and Steve Rogers. Crazy Toys also produced a 1/6 version of the Chris Evans Captain America. Captain Action's version of Captain America is available in many different costumes and shields. These figures are very posable. Mego produced a 12-inch Captain America in the 70s, complete with the famous shield. Other versions of Captain America include Diamond Select's 8-inch figure, Hasbro's 8-inch figure, and Famous Cover's 8-inch figure. There is also a 3 3/4-inch version of Captain America by Hasbro with different shields.
First appearing in the comic book Amazing Fantasy number 15 in 1962 was Peter Parker, who was raised by his Aunt May after the tragic death of his parents by plane crash. As a teen, Peter was bitten by a radioactive spider, which provided him with amazing abilities. Such as clinging to any surface, superhuman strength, and web-shooting wrists that allow him to swing freely through the city. He became known as Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is the first teen superhero, not a sidekick like Robin to Batman or Bucky to Captain America. Since young adults were able to identify with Peter Parker, Spider-Man became one of the most successful and popular superheroes in the Marvel Universe.
Spider-Man toys vary from giant plush versions to 12-inch action figures from companies like Mego and Captain Action. 8-inch versions of Spider-Man include Diamond Select, Hasbro, and Toy Biz's famous Covers line. Hasbro also produced a 3 3/4-inch Spider-Man in their ever-expanding Marvel Universe line.
For movie fans, Tonner Dolls produced this wonderful version of Spider-Man, standing almost 18 inches tall. Both Captain America and Spider-Man have become the most popular Marvel superheroes of all time. The Marvel Universe introduces us to maniacal miscreants like Doctor Doom, the metal-clad combatant of the Fantastic Four. Doom seeks vengeance on humanity because of his disfigurement. Loki uses evil trickery to try and get rid of his brother Thor, because of the different ways they were treated growing up in Asgard. The Red Skull is an aptly named opponent of Captain America. He is a would-be dictator, bent on world domination and mass genocide. Magneto is a survivor and mutant byproduct of the Holocaust. His cynical view leads him to take revenge on the human race with the help of Toad, a frog-like servant of Magneto who has amazing leaping and long-tongued abilities. And Sabretooth, part of the Cold War super soldier program alongside Wolverine. He is equipped with razor-sharp claws and teeth. Mr. Sinister is obsessed with creating the ultimate being from the X-Men's genetics. Spider-Man has his fair share of unruly rivals, like Sandman, who got his name by coming into contact with irradiated sand and now has the ability to shapeshift. Dr. Octopus is a mad scientist who fashioned his multiple arms that come in handy during battle. Green Goblin got his look by ingesting toxic chemicals and uses a variety of gadgets to terrorize townies and Spider-Man alike. Electro turned to a life of crime after being struck by lightning and bestowed the power of shooting lightning from his fingertips. The list of Marvel miscreants keeps our heroes busy for ample amounts of adventure.
Thank you for joining us on this Marvel vs. DC episode.
That's right. And it seemed like Marvel really beat out the competition, didn't they?
They did. We looked at different toys. We looked at two 12-inch lines,
Right.
an 8-inch line, a 9-inch line, and Marvel won. Marvel won the competition 3-1.
3-1, and that's what we think. Now it's your turn at home. Decide which is better.
That's right.
Join us for Part 2 of Marvel vs. DC. Topics include the Batman family, the X-Men, secret identities, superheroines. Special features include origins of Marvel heroes such as Iron Man, Thor, and Hawkeye, as well as origins of DC heroes to include The Flash, Green Lantern, and Aquaman. We will also review new Batman toys from the new movie, The Batman. And lastly, we will feature some custom Batman toys on the next episode of In the Toy Box.
Yeah.